So, I wanted to do a video that kind of went over the process of the arrangement I made for At the Speed of Force. It's the Tom Holkenborg community project. He was basically doing a project for people to remix the song. And you get the original guitar stems from that track from Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is really cool, to be honest, because not a lot of people are doing stuff like that, where you get like the actual files from the project, which is, again, that's just kind of unheard of. So first off, I thought it was a really cool opportunity just to try to do something different. My I guess musical career is based around drums and based around gospel music and stuff like that, and I love what I do. I love recording in the studio. I love recording for producers. I will always do that. I love like arranging stuff and working with Ableton and playing live, and I'm always gonna want to do that, but like I would say like almost like a side passion is more so, and I wouldn't even I wouldn't even kind of lie and call myself a composer, because I'm not. Like, I've never composed for a film or anything like that. To me, you gotta, like, you really have to earn that title by doing projects and doing different stuff. And so when people say, like, I'm a composer, not me, when they declare that for themselves, I'm like, yeah, well, like, it's more, to me, it's more about like what's the track record. Hans Zimmer, John Williams, Tom Holkenborg, people like this, like, this is what they do for a living. That's their career. And I think that's the good thing about music, is you can have so many different like career paths, but the umbrella is still music, so because I know a lot of these composers like to play instruments as well, and I think I'm in that camp where if I ever were to get some kind of job or something, and I can create and compose like some music, that's not going to stop me from doing all the other stuff that I love to do. But that's just a little bit of backstory into my channel. Is not really geared towards film scores or composing, but I have a couple that I've remixed or redone from ones that I love. And this is kind of in that vein. And to be honest, there's a little bit of, wouldn't even say like intimidation, but just like, you're never really certain if you have what it takes to even do something like this. And so I really felt like, you know what, I just need to kind of take that leap of faith and just do it. And, if it turns out to be something cool, great. If it bombs, great. Like, and I'm not trying to say that, it's a bomb or whatever. I think this turned out really good. And thank you guys for, number one, everybody who's left like a positive comment or reaction. That really goes a long way. And that kind of confirms for me that, that it was done from the right place, the right heart, because I wanted to do this justice. Justice, no pun intended. Sorry, Tom, or Zach, like they're gonna watch this, but so my thing is, the original track, if you have not heard it, number one, if you haven't seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, you need to go watch it. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse because I'm all about it. I am a huge DC fan. I've been a Batman fan since Michael Keaton, since Kevin Conroy with the animated series. Like, I grew up in the 90s watching that. I grew up watching all the Justice League animated stuff, Batman Beyond, Superman animated. I mean, you name it. And I feel like, that's a part of who I am growing up, is like those stories and those heroes and stuff like that. Then you get into the Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan era with Hans, brilliant scores for all this kind of stuff. You got Shirley Walker, who did the animated series, brilliant. I mean, that's one of my favorite pieces, is the original Batman theme from the animated series. The Justice League Unlimited theme, all this is just phenomenal. Then you got, I'm a big gamer too. So, when I played the Arkham series, Nick Arundel, who composed those games, I mean, literally, it's just stunning. Everybody's like contributed, all these pieces. And so when I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was like, number one, I was just floored by what I was seeing, because as a fan, I'm like, this is what we've been waiting on. And, not to get into a big long thing, but when all this stuff happened before, and Zach was kind of off the project, and then Tom as well, it just turned into a different thing that wasn't the original vision. And so when I saw Tom's name, I was just like over the moon, man, because number one, him and Zach got another opportunity to really do what the original vision was. And I feel like this music, this score for the film, which is 4 hours long, but it's a glorious 4 hours. It really didn't even feel like it to me. But for a composer to have to come up with that much music, and I'm sure he already had an idea of some of the original stuff that he might have already been working on and kind of just had to put on the shelf, but I imagine a lot of it was like from scratch, from the start, and he kind of had to put it all together. So 4 hours of music, that's a lot, but I think, like most people, this theme, which I know some people have already, coined that phrase, so I don't think I'm the one that came up with it. But when I saw the film, the first night it was released, and this scene came on, I literally said out loud, "That's the Flash theme." Like, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what they're going to do for the Flash film coming up. Like, to me, this is the theme for the Flash. And it was just, the scene itself is emotionally gripping, but with this music added in, the impact was just like astronomical to me. And as much as like, again, I'm a DC fan, but I always tell people, like, I'm a Batman fan, but this film made me respect Flash and Cyborg because of their stories and what was going on. And so, I won't just talk this entire time. I'm actually going to play, some of the stuff right now, but I'm going to play the guitar stems they sent first. And you'll see some of the edits that I made. I kind of, because I wanted this one a little more locked to the grid that I was working with, I basically, I didn't want to like time stretch a bunch of stuff and make it start sounding weird. So what I did was I just basically edited where I kind of made my own arrangement of, this is not exactly how his guitars played out. It is for the most part, but then when it circles back around a couple of times, it's kind of like my edit, and that's the whole point, is that you're kind of coming up with a new concept. So I might not play every single thing. We'll see. I think I'm gonna leave the drums out for right now, for sure. But let's play the guitars, and then I'll kind of walk through some of the other stuff. Okay, so we'll leave it right there for a second. So my overall goal, and we'll come back to some of this stuff at the beginning, because this is more the stuff at the beginning is way more of an original concept versus when the guitars come in. I'm kind of following a little bit more of what Tom's idea was, and I just made a few like changes. So, I know the goal was probably to kind of just think outside the box and redo the whole thing. But again, this theme was so gripping to me. I didn't really want to change a whole lot of the chord structure and a lot of stuff. So just the way I work, my workflow, is probably different than most people, but I usually come up with like a line or something, and for me, this was really easy because the line's already there. The theme is already there. I'm just adding the stuff underneath it. And so the first thing I wanted to do was kind of lay the chord structure in my mind. And this is probably not exactly like his original, but that's the point. It's supposed to be a little bit different anyway. So this is kind of what I was hearing, but let me just play, the strings, and these are really just holding out chords to fill the space, and then I started adding some other stuff on top of that. So they start over right there. And a lot of people are asking, like, what are you using for some of your stuff? So Spitfire Audio, Epic Strings, and I'll go through some of the other plugins, but I just think these are incredibly realistic, and they always sound super good to me. And I'm just using the basic, the first one that loads up is the live strings, and again, these are just holding chords. So I'm not super worried about. I didn't get into like the reverb and all the extra stuff until I usually kind of put the whole song together, whatever I'm working on, and then I'll go back and start doing like sound design stuff or mixing, like compression or reverb, or if I want to EQ something and have it sound a certain way. Like, let me see if I have. Yeah, so here's the bells, right? Let me turn off this, and this is what the bells sound like. And this is Anna 2, which is a Stephen Slate. This comes with the Slate bundle, which I have for like mixing and stuff. but it actually comes with this the like wavetable as well. So this is in the Sleep bundle, and there's a lot of really cool sounds on there that I use for other stuff. But I was like, it's too harsh. Like it cuts through in the mix, but I want it to sound a little more dull and warm and not as like brash. So what I did, again, that goes with like kind of sound design or editing. The first thing I did was I threw a EQ on it, and I brought down pretty much a lot of the highs up to almost 2K, and I took that out. So this is what it sounds like with the EQ on it. Without. With. See, it's way more warm, and you're hearing all the verb and all the delay and all that stuff. That the cool thing is, like, I didn't really have to change anything. A lot of that is already in. It's already in there. So I don't have my MIDI keyboard plugged up, so I was just kind of clicking for you to hear that. But let's go back to these the chords, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in the low end strings, which this is also Spitfire, but this is the octave setting, and so usually I'll play the octave at the same time for the low end, but it's doubled, so it has a high and a low, and so if you, depending on where you're at on the keyboard, it's basically doubling the octave all the time. So to me, it's great for the low end stuff because it just fills the space. So let me add in the bells, the low end, and we still have the strings that we had up top. So one thing that I kind of felt for this as well is I wanted a mixture. I didn't want to go all electronic, and I didn't want to go all orchestral. I was like, how can I mix both and kind of make it feel good, but also you can definitely tell there's like some plug-in elements and stuff like that. So I wanted to add a synth bass underneath, and again, I kind of did the same thing with this. It kind of has like a real punchy sound, but I wanted to take that punch out, make it a little more warm. And this is also Anna 2 as well, and this is Banana Man on the bass tab. And I really just go through sounds and I'm like, that's it, but let me tweak it a little bit. So let me add that in and we'll kind of listen. So see, like it, I always find that cool. I know a lot of video games do it. Tom has done that as well, and Hans, and pretty much everybody has done the let's mix like electronic stuff and cinematic, or let's mix like real instruments and cinematic, like the guitars. Like he played all that stuff, all the guitars that are up here. So like if you listen to Mad Max Fury Road, that he did. There's a lot of like electric guitar and a lot of like electric bass stuff, like different sounds in there. So I really like that. I like experimenting with adding other elements to the cinematic kind of side of thing. So the last thing I'll show you right here, and then I'll just go to the next section and kind of play some of that, and then I'll bring in the guitars. Is I wanted a line, surprisingly, that there was already a line with. Let me see which one it is. Yeah, it's the lead one. So this is. That's technically already the line. But since it was playing here by itself, the second time it came around, I wanted to add something else, like my own kind of flavor to it. And so I was like, what line could I play that's not really like conflicting? And these are going to be the solo violins on East West. This is with the Symphonic Orchestra Gold, and this is actually, let me make sure this is the right one. Yeah. So this is the solo violin, and then I have another one underneath it playing it identical, but it's just an octave higher. That way it cuts through. And then these are harmony lines, and I'll bring those in a second. But again, this is kind of, I wanted my own line to kind of play along with this, so this is what that turned out. Sorry, I hit something. Let me bring in the harmonies right here. So you can tell the harmony parts are there, but I also made them kind of do a couple of different things because I didn't want them just following each other the entire time. I wanted a little bit of like crossover movement. And then, actually, you know what? Let me bring in this cello part real quick. I'll play it on its own, and the French horns are doing the same thing, but I'll just play this real quick. Oh, my bad. So again, you can hear trombones are kind of splitting off and doing a couple of different things. And let me play. I'm going to play just all my stuff real quick by itself, and then I'm going to bring in the guitars. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to. This is the original project. I wanted you guys to see some of the stuff I was using. East West. I have the Composer's Cloud. So a lot of the horns, like this is Hollywood Brass. A lot of stuff is from these packs, like even the drums, Hollywood Orchestral Percussion. I don't have it. Sorry. Yeah, so a lot of tom stuff, a lot of big drum stuff. And then we got the original guitars. So what I want to do is, because a lot of these plugins are carrying, obviously they're carrying a lot of weight. And so that kind of carries the weight on the computer. And then after, usually what I do is when I kind of have the part solidified for myself, I'll go ahead and render it as an audio file. Make sure, listen through, make sure there were no hiccups or anything. And then I can put it into another session. And this is the session that I did a lot of the mixing on. And so that way you're not eating up a lot of space. There's not a lot of plugins. I think I have one right here. I added another strings low end plugin on the intro. So this is the only one that's running right now. And let's just listen through, and I'll kind of try to talk through some of it, but I'll let you guys hear. Obviously you can go hear the finished product. But this is kind of everything together. Let me play. We'll go to this first. We'll go to that section we were just on. And let me take the drums out for a second. Okay, so again, I just find it more beneficial. Obviously, I'm saving some stress on the computer, but I just find it a little more beneficial for myself to bring all of these files in as audio and be able to mix them how I want, and I can pan stuff, and I can add more reverb, or I can change like EQs and all of that, instead of having to fight with the MIDI and the VST. Along with that is, again, it's just a lot of pressure on the computer. I'm not, I'm using a MacBook Pro, but I'm not rolling with, like hundreds of gigs of RAM that I can just have like, 500 plugins going, and it's not going to do anything. Like, eventually it will be too much for the session to handle. So again, for people that are maybe starting out, or you don't have like a lot of super high-end equipment, a good thing to maybe do is, once you do have your part solidified kind of all the way through the song, then I would go ahead and render that. And if you're not going to change it, or you could just go ahead and render it, keep working with the session, and if you change something, you can just render it again. But I would go ahead and render as you go, and have the audio files already ready to put into like another session to start working with them. So here it is from the top. Again, this is really not a lot of tracks. I've seen some of these guys have like, 600 tracks plus or something. So this is real basic. I made this in a couple of hours just because I wanted to get it done, and I felt like I didn't want it to be really long, and I just wanted to kind of lend my own idea to it. But that's the whole remix part. But this is how it came out. I'm gonna leave the drums out for right now. Cool. Um, yeah. So again, a lot of what I've used is Spitfire stuff. Like I said, I had the Anna 2. Let me see. Yeah, right there. Um, and then yeah, Epic Strings. I love. I want to get some more stuff from Spitfire eventually, but there's a lot of good plugins out there. A lot of good VSTs. You just you got to spend time with them and figure out what works for you and how you want things to sound and really that's the really cool thing about music in general. But I would even say composing in the same regard is that obviously it takes like the willpower and skill to come up with something on your own and to put a whole song together and all of that. But it's really not it's not impossible. Number one, to even start and to do some stuff like that. When I write, for some reason I just write like cinematic. When I play drums, I don't play drums cinematic. I play, like I said, like gospel or R&B or funk or or whatever. And that's the cool thing about music is you can have different styles, you can have different ideas, and none of it is wrong. You just like you literally should do what you want to do and what makes you happy. And again, I've heard some of the interpretations of this song and remixes, and they're all like super super cool. Just a lot of like unique ideas and a lot of different stuff going on. And again, none of it's wrong. It literally everybody is putting their own voice and their own stamp on this song. So I think it's really cool for people like Tom who have a bigger platform and those opportunities and stuff just to basically say like, hey, to the community, I want you guys to, kind of put some different ideas on this and just have fun with it. That's the whole point. It's not it's a passion, and for a lot of people it's a career, but you should also love what you're doing and have fun with it. So again, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, or if you want to just hear the full thing mixed, and I did a little bit of like mastering just to kind of get the volume level up and stuff. If you want to hear it in higher quality, you can go watch the video, and I'll probably even link it in the description of this one. But it's the newest video on my channel. And again, I appreciate everybody who has listened so far and has commented, and it really means a lot. So I hope to do more of this, and I'll see you guys on the next one.